Oh, y'all, my garden is overrun with weeds. I can't even pretend like we've been able to keep up. We have been very busy. Those are tomato plants, and amongst all that, it's hard to tell on camera because there's so many weeds, but we're gonna work on it. I was quite tempted to get in my feelings about how bad the garden looks right now, but ooh, nice. I got to thinking about what we've been busy with. Oh, what is eating my strawberry? But anyway, like I said, I think about the things we've been busy with, and they're all very worthy things. Things that matter, things that bless other people, which in turn blesses us. And so I'm not going to be upset that the garden is... No, look how big that one is. I'm gonna try to not be upset that the garden is in such a state. I mean, it's still producing. Not as much as I'd hoped, but that's partly weather and such. But it's sort of a weird summer. We've had some very mild days. It's just recently gotten warm enough for things to really start working. But we've had a lot of rain too. So I worked my tail off in the garden on a Saturday just for it to rain most of the week. And with the rain, you know, the weeds are back and thicker and stronger than ever. But we've also harvested the zucchini, and squash is coming along. And of course, you know, this makes me happy. Oh, and some cucumbers. We've gotten some cucumbers, so I'm still counting my blessings. Yeah, we've got ourselves a mess, but tomatoes are growing in there. Can you pull it a little tighter on that corner? Huh? You see where it's kind of wrinkled up? Like, look down this row right in front of me. You mean right here? No, right in front of me. This way. See if you can pull that out a little bit.
Like that?
Yeah. How did we manage that to be the right, perfect size?
It's meant to be.
Maybe this will help. Sure does look better, I know that. I didn't even know we had this. How long have you had it?
Oh, about a year.
You've had... So just to kind of explain what we're doing today, I am pruning these tomato plants. Never done it before. Never really grown tomato plants to this capacity before. All the other times we've ever tried to grow tomatoes, they didn't do very well. I'm not sure what we did wrong, but we didn't hurt over it because we're not real big fans of tomatoes, at least not yet. I'm hoping this changes. Growing them ourselves and picking them at the right time will change that. But anyway, I'm pruning them and staking them up and hoping that I'm just doing it right. Honestly, these videos are not only for the sake of just sharing the journey and our experiences with the world, and maybe teaching somebody a thing or two if we learn something, but also so I can see what I did right and or wrong. So if these don't do well after I mess with them, then I'll know what not to do next time. But if they do well, then I can look back and say, what did you do with those tomato plants last season that they turned out so good? And I can look back and see what I did. So let's go with it. Basically, I'm taking some of what I've learned from from more experienced homesteaders and their videos, and looking at what to cut and what not to cut. The problem is I've let these go too long. So all the little suckers, this, for example, has grown out to try to be its own little main stalk, and it's got a lot of blossoms on it. We've even got the start of a little fruit right there. So at this point, since it's done bushed out so much, I have to be very careful what I cut. I'm definitely gonna start with cutting some things low to the ground, get all this yellow stuff off and get it off the ground, and then see what's, as far as main stalks, what's more important. Because we have like 2 or 3 now. The suckers have grown out and gotten real thick and sturdy, and now they're trying to be their own main stalk off of one. So if that makes any sense at all. So I'm gonna trim it up and hope I don't cut anything vital, I guess. Here's one that I've already done, and you can see how we have the main plant here, and then it has sprouted out into so many different stalks. This is producing fruit really well, so all I intend to do, I'm trimmed up. You can see where I've cut all the other suckers or stems that were down low, so I didn't have such a bushy plant. I kept what was flowering pretty well, and definitely what is producing fruit. And I guess we will take the twine. Oh, sorry, with the camera, y'all. Trying to use 2 hands. Take the twine and sort of loosely tie them together and stake them up. So maybe it'll keep going well. Weird. I mean, honestly, this is trial and error. We'll have to see. Any thoughts, any guidance that you master gardeners can share with me, I will take it. Leave me some comments. We just discovered something really awesome. Jeff is down there, honestly, being more destructive than productive. But in the process, yes, we've let these tomato plants get overgrown and bushy, but this part laid over and actually broke off. But it has, where it was laid on the ground, has taken root. Look how healthy this thing has been surviving. It broke away from the main stalk, grew some new roots, and it's even got little fruits on it. So I think that's pretty cool. This thing has a will to live, so we're gonna put it somewhere and give it a chance. I'll clean it up a little bit, of course, prune it some, treat it better than we did before, and then see what happens. Jeff suggests we pull up this little wimpy one and put our big one right there and see how it does. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Imagine it's gotta be a pretty deep hole. So in this one, we just cut off several of the ones that were growing out, and I'm just gonna repot those and put them along the fence line, because we don't have a whole lot of stakes to stake up a bunch of extra plants. But then we tied these 2 main pieces with twine to a stake, and we're just gonna see how this works. Oh, what about this one over here, Jeff? We forgot one.
Yeah, dang sure did. It needs to be on there.
Yeah.
Like right here. Tie it right
Unless
there.
you want me to cut it off and stick it in a pot.
No, we'll tie it right there.
Okay, we'll tie it.
Oh, that's what I was saying. They're running across the ground so much now. We just have to tie some stakes in and drive some stakes in.
I know they can still thrive like this, or at least that's what I've heard in videos, but I don't think they're supposed to be this wild.
Yeah.
All this is tomato plants.
we can take a stake, like bring this over here.
Yeah.
Put the stake right there, and then tie what we can of this up away from these over here.
Do we even bother with tying it up now? Because I know, I mean, it's an experiment. Some people say just see how they do. If you want to let them just run, you don't have to prune them and stake them up. So we've got, why don't we test it out? We've got all of these that are cleaned up and will be staked up, and let's just see what we get. I mean, we've never grown tomatoes really before.
Put one in right here though to get this.
We can go ahead and let these bush out and see what happens. So then we'll have an experiment of the 2. We got bushy tomatoes, cleaned up, staked up tomatoes, and let's see who wins. A lot of it has to do with your climate, and our climate's been weird this year.
Do you want to at least tie this one up?
Yeah, I mean, we can.
It needs to be, I think. Come here and look at it, and I'll show you why.
What is it?
Do you see all this?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of main stalks.
I think
now.
we need to like tie it right there.
Is there even a tomato on that one?
There's a bunch of blooms. I think we need to tie it right here.
Oh, we've got a damaged pepper plant here.
Where? Did I step on it?
Thank you, son.
Oh no, that's the one I pulled up.
Jeffrey.
I told you I'd stick it back in the ground.
And I told them you were more destructive than productive.
We'll go back in the house. This one right here, I think we should tie to this. Right there.
Okay. There's a little mater on there. 2 of them. Okay, we'll try to stake them up. And we're gonna let these grow and see how they do, these versus those. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, let's get this. You got your twine?
Yeah.
We can tie it right here.
So we can see a clear difference in these and that.
I got these.
So we're gonna see how they do. What's the difference? Which works best? Who knows? But I just can't. My back can't handle that today. And there's just so much going on that I'm scared I'll do more damage than good since we've let it go this far. So it's just gonna have to be in a season of experiment. And we haven't tackled the weeds over there yet. It's just more than we can get done in a day. I'm gonna give my back a rest and then come back to it in about 30 minutes, but it won't be finished today. But Jeff did till this section. Nothing was growing there yet or planted there, so it's time to start the fall garden or succession sow what we've already got going. I've got to decide what we're gonna put out there. We already have some broccoli, I think, over there. I done forgot, golly. What is it, broccoli and collards we've got planted?
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts and broccoli. That's what we've got over there and over here. And we need to clean up around that too because it's hard to tell the plant from the weed. But we are making use of the day at home with no other place to be and no other responsibilities. It's just more than a day's work and it's a lot, but we're tired. But I'm hoping this helps because we just keep having to re-till the spot just to bury the weeds in. And our schedules just don't allow for a lot of things, but the garden is very important to us. Ooh, I see oh no. Do you see them? Oh, those white little cabbage moths. Oh, y'all, that's not good. And I already see holes. Yeah, we're gonna be out here picking worms. I need to get a net. Yep, that one's pretty much already worm food. Oh. So I've come back out here to work some more and I see this. I'm hoping it's just a shock of the transplant. It's been watered. Maybe it was a bad choice in time of day because it was, I mean, today's not a super hot day, but it still was the middle of the day. I don't know. The other one looks a little sad too. So I'm hoping it's just the shock of the transplant, but we'll have to wait that out and hope for the best. So it is the next morning, and while I was getting ready for church, it dawned on me that I think we made some mistakes yesterday. So I walked down here to check, and we did. Here is one of the cuttings that we transplanted, and I know you can do that, but I sort of skipped a step. I forgot that you need to propagate those in water and let them develop roots before you stick them in the ground. I just completely, I mean, like, duh, you know, but I completely forgot that. And then the same thing with this one. This one did not have any roots attached, and we just stuck it in the ground with some and watered it. Now this one is the one that had started developing roots on the bottom, and we just stuck it in there. It actually looks fine. So, but it had already started a new set of roots where it was laying on the ground. So when we pulled it up, we just transplanted it here, and the roots are already there to give it a good start. So these other ones that we did aren't gonna make it, but that's fine. I mean, lesson learned, and honestly, I know it's common sense. We were just had so much going yesterday and trying to get a lot done that it didn't occur to me, something that I already knew. Now, the other mistake we made was turning on the sprinkler. I knew that we needed to do the cuttings, the pruning, while sort of earlier in the day, but after everything had dried off, I knew that, but for some reason it didn't occur to me to not run the sprinkler to water the garden later. Now it had been a few hours later, so I'm hoping maybe we won't have trouble, but these open areas where I had to cut all the leaves and stems did not need to be wet, so we didn't run the sprinkler very long, but I mean, I hope they'll be fine. I hope I didn't open them up to any kind of disease or anything. We'll see. Live and learn. But I also remembered I didn't close the video out yesterday, so maybe this is why, because I had to go over some do's and don'ts if you decide to prune your tomato plants. We've always learned everything the hard way. Not much has changed, and now I see where my kids get it from. But anyway, stay tuned and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.